Hey there, cats and kittens, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of The MonkeyBoy Presents the DC Comics Superhero Collection by Eaglemoss, and today I'm happy to bring you another issue in the Blackest, Brightest sub-series collection, number 11, Deathstorm. And this is the third and final Black Lantern in this sub-series collection. He was preceded, of course, by the first issue in the series, Black Hand, and the one and only special edition in this collection, Necron, the Lord of the Black Lanterns. Deathstorm here is the reanimated corpse of one-time hero, Firestorm. He's really cool because he's a zombie. I personally love zombies. I have been a huge fan of the zombie genre for a number of years, dating all the way back to Night of the Living Dead, and all the way up to, of course, AMC's current Walking Dead series. If you are unaware of Deathstorm, well, I'm not surprised, because he hasn't appeared anywhere outside of the comic books. So, we will bring you the magazine first, which will tell you everything you need to know about the Black Lantern known as Deathstorm. And then, we'll take a look at the figure itself, covering the good, the bad, and the ugly. He's very ugly, of course, because he is a corpse brought back to life to fight against his one-time allies. Please, sit back, relax, and enjoy issue number 11 in the Blackest Night, Brightest Day sub-series collection by Eaglemoss, Black Lantern, Deathstorm. First up, the character section. Where we learn Deathstorm first came into being after Professor Martin Stein and one of his students, Ronnie Raymond, were killed in an event known as the Identity Crisis. Professor Stein went on to mourn his lost student, Ronnie Raymond, but took solace in the fact that the Firestorm entity had been passed on to two of his newer students, Jason Rush and his girlfriend, Gehenna. Not long after Jason and Gehenna inherited the Firestorm Matrix, the Blackest Night descended upon the DC universe, and they were suddenly faced with the reincarnated corpse of the former Firestorm, Ronnie Raymond, now calling himself Deathstorm. Deathstorm managed to merge with the new Firestorm and forced Jason to watch as he turned his girlfriend and counterpart in the Firestorm Matrix, Gehenna, into nothing but a pillar of salt. Luckily, Blackest Night was averted and the Brightest Day was ushered in, which saw the resurrection of Ronnie Raymond, and he and Jason Rush became the newest incarnation of Firestorm. It wasn't easy for the pair at first. Ronnie had to be reacclimated to being alive again, while Jason had to deal with the fact that Ronnie was once a part of the Deathstorm Matrix, responsible for his girlfriend Gehenna's death. The two eventually worked things out with help from Professor Stein, who now acted as their mentor and counselor. But both teens could hear a distant voice echoing in their heads. The entity known as Deathstorm emerged from within Firestorm, eager to carry on Necron and the Black Lantern Corps' mission of ridding all life from the known universe. He began with Professor Stein killing him in front of the two boys who were merged as Firestorm. Deathstorm learned that there was a White Lantern that had landed in New Mexico and headed there hoping to outrun any heroes who would try to claim it as their own. He also used his dark powers to raise an undead army of Black Lanterns to fight against any heroes that would interfere with him. Ultimately, Deathstorm and the other Black Lanterns were destroyed when the White Entity of Life emerged from the White Lantern. Next, we look at a few more issues from the Brightest Day storyline. This time it features issues from the Titans and Titans Villains for Hire, Brightest Day. Following the event known as Blackest Night, Deathstroke the Terminator, one of the Teen Titans' most deadly foes, forms his own version of the Titans that he calls Titans Villains for Hire. He recruits a group of superpowered teens who are sort of lost souls in the DCU, promising to give their lives meaning as long as they work as his team. Over the course of the story, these new Titans take on the second hero to call himself Adam Ryan Choi, shape-changing assassin Facade, and even the world-renowned villain Lex Luthor. It's a very well-illustrated story, and is one of the better stories to come out of Brightest Day. The iconography section continues to look at life and resurrection in the DCU, this time looking at the life and rebirth of the Flash. This section gives a brief overview of Barry Allen and how he became the Flash, and the first man to tap into the Speed Force. We also learn that Barry sacrificed himself trying to save not only our Earth, but the entire DC multiverse from the evil Anti-Monitor during an event known as the Crisis on Infinite Earths. Barry managed to return to life during an event known as the Final Crisis, outrunning death, this time in the guise of the new god known as the Black Racer. Finally, the Friends of Foe section features some other lanterns across the color spectrum, including Green Lantern Boudica, Red Lantern Vice, and the Orange Lantern Lex Luthor.
And here we have Deathstorm, the third and final Black Lantern, and I have to say he is an awesome way to finish out the Black Lanterns. I love these guys. From Necron to Blackhand, I just love the fact that they're zombified. They are decaying corpses of villains and heroes who have risen from the grave. And Deathstorm here is fantastic. The sculpt is absolutely outstanding on him. From the veins popping to the musculature to the costume itself, the bunching around where the gloves meet the sleeves, those like baggy sleeves are really great. His hands are both, you can see, all rotted, and it looked decayed, like necrosis has totally consumed his body. I love his face. That blue hair is really great, all the way down to the boots, and he has these really nice silver highlights here and there that mostly represent the Black Lantern logo all over him. Very nice figure. A really cool addition to the collection. Not flawless, but very close. I'll talk a little bit more about what I do and don't like in the next section in a moment.
Deathstorm stands atop the Black Lantern logo, and the underside of the base features his name and serial number. And to give you a sense of size and scale, here he is next to Green Lantern Hal Jordan, alongside his living counterpart, Firestorm. And finally, a group shot with all three of the Black Lanterns in the Blackest Night, Brightest Day sub-series collection. Deathstorm is another really cool addition to the Blackest Night, Brightest Day sub-series. I love adding another villain, and he is very, very cool as the final Black Lantern in this series. The good by far outweighs the bad, and he is near perfect. We'll start with the good. The sculpt is absolutely outstanding. There's very little wrong with him as far as that is concerned. He is sculpted perfectly. The pose is creepy and dynamic. He looks like a rotten corpse. The colors are also perfectly done, and the paint is nearly flawless. Very little bleed to speak of. Starting with the base, his boots are nicely painted. The black is a flat sort of black, so he looks like a decayed corpse. There's great texturing as well. He has really good musculature, the calves, the quadriceps, ankles, thighs, it's all nicely detailed. He has great silver highlighting, which is basically the Black Lantern logo on the lower torso, and the upper body has great musculature. His abs, his stomach, his chest, all well defined. The back of the character is also well defined. The sculpt is very well done. The musculature is all there. I love the pointy shoulder pads and how they're sort of drooping. His hands are both well done as well. The left hand sort of reaching up is decayed. It looks like a corpse. Every finger is detailed. I like the cuffs around the wrists and the bagginess in the sleeves, which is indicative of Firestorm's costume. The right hand also hanging by his side looks like a corpse. It's great coloration. It's sort of a deep gray with some black highlighting. It looks rotten and like a zombie, which is perfect. And again, every finger is detailed. His upper body, the chest, has the Black Lantern logo hand-painted in a nice metallic silver paint, and it is very similar to Firestorm's, which I absolutely love. It's perfect exactly as it should be, since this is, of course, the Black Lantern reanimated corpse version of Firestorm. Finally, the head sculpt is outstanding. He looks like a zombie, like a skull with just bits of flesh still hanging on, a nice deep gray with some black highlighting all around. The flaming skull is also very, very cool. Firestorm usually has that red, orange, and yellow, whereas Deathstorm here, his opposite, has a nice white and light blue swirling. The eyes are sunken in, the teeth are detailed, the nostrils, everything about this guy is really cool, and if you put him under a black light, he looks absolutely outstanding. Very creepy, very scary. He is a wonderful addition to this line and nearly perfect. On to the bad. Aside from extremely minor paint bleed, the only thing that is actually wrong with this figure is he is missing the Black Lantern ring. It's on none of his fingers, not even a little dab of paint, and I definitely missed that. Finally, the ugly. The only thing to really check on this character are the hands. They are going to be a little bit gnarled, but it's sort of okay since he's a zombie, a corpse. It kind of works, but you want to make sure they aren't too badly gnarled. Overall, Deathstorm is a really cool addition to the Blackest Night, Brightest Day sub-series collection. It's always nice to add another villain, and it's really cool to add another Black Lantern because I love zombies, and that's exactly what these characters are. They are zombified versions of the heroes and villains we've grown to love in the DCU. He's really neat to have on the shelf. He is also neat to have next to Firestorm because they're sort of opposites. He's sort of the Bizarro to Firestorm's Superman, if you will. He's also really cool as the final Black Lantern in this collection. It's unfortunately we only have 3, but at least they are 3 of the coolest and most important out of the Blackest Night, Brightest Day series. Is he for everyone? Probably not, but if you know Blackest Night, Brightest Day, I highly recommend picking him up. He is really, really cool. I love the villains. And I hope you have loved my review of Deathstorm, the 11th issue in the Blackest Night, Brightest Day sub-series collection. Please stay tuned for a quick teaser of the next issue in the regular Eaglemoss collection. We're going back to another hero, a member of the JSA, and he is actually one of 3 heroes to carry on this particular moniker. Please stay tuned for that. As always, I'm your host, the Monkey Boy, aka J to his friends. Thanks for watching.